What happens at 3 a.m. when your soul leaves your body? The shocking truth revealed forever. The clock struck 3, a time spoken of in hushed whispers, filled with untold secrets and ghostly encounters. In that eerie hour, the veil between the living and the otherworldly thins, leaving behind a chill that can freeze even the warmest of hearts. It said that those who wander at this hour might catch a glimpse of their own spirit, unleashed from the boundaries of flesh. The streets are empty, shadows dance, and your heartbeat echoes like a drum, loud enough to wake the dead. Just ask Rebecca, who once dared to live through the unsettling experience. She had always been the brave one, often laughing off tales of the supernatural. But one night, that laughter died in her throat. While everyone was asleep in their homes, she sat in her dimly lit room, eyes fixed on a flickering candle. Suddenly, a gust of wind ripped through the cracks, snuffing out the flame and plunging her into darkness. A shiver ran down her spine. She felt a strange pull, like a thread being tugged from her soul. Was it just her imagination? Or was she on the brink of something she couldn't comprehend? Heartbeat racing, her skin felt alive with electricity, and whispers of a faint song surrounded her. It was sweet yet haunting, as if beckoning her to step into another realm. As Rebecca tiptoed to the window, eyes scanning the moonlit street for answers, she noticed an odd shimmer just outside. It looked like a wisp of fog, dancing and twisting, not like anything she'd ever seen, but like a soul waiting for its host. Confusion twisted in her gut, and fear wrapped around her heart like a vice. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Rebecca leaned in closer, eyes wide, filled with an intense curiosity that battled with her growing dread. The shimmer pulsed as if alive, drawing her forward like a moth to a flame. As she stepped outside, her body felt light, almost weightless, like the night air was conspiring to lift her away. And then, in that moment, the world went silent. No crickets, no rustle of leaves, just a heavy, suffocating silence. Was this her soul? Or something darker waiting to trap her? Her heart pounded in her chest. A figure appeared in the distance. Was it real? Or just a figment of her imagination? The more she strained her eyes, the more it looked like herself, only ethereal, glowing faintly like starlight against the pitch of night. Fear clawed at her throat. What if she was never meant to return? A whisper echoed in her mind. It asked the same chilling question everyone has at least once: what lies beyond? Suddenly, she was at a crossroads, and she needed to decide fast: stay and uncover this chilling truth, or flee back to her reality. What would she choose? And could she even return if she stepped through that shimmering gate? Rebecca stood frozen, caught between the familiar world she knew and the strange pull of the unknown. The figure flickered before her, like a dying star trying to hold on. Her mind raced, torn between desperate curiosity and overwhelming dread. The questions swirled viciously. What was this thing before her? Was it a reflection of her soul or a deceitful specter? The luminescent figure extended a hand, beckoning her closer. An urge surged through Rebecca, one that felt both foreign and terrifying. She took a step forward, heart thundering like war drums in her ears. As she moved, the night air thickened, wrapping around her like a damp cloak. "Rebecca!" The figure whispered, and though the voice was barely a breath, it sliced through the suffocating silence. It sounded just like her, a melody altered, yet eerily familiar. "Come." Each step ignited a fire in her chest, mingling confusion with an exhilarating thrill. What if this was liberation? What if in stepping through, she could see the truth of her existence, a view untouched by mortal fear? But then it hit her. Memories of her friends, of laughter and warmth swirled violently in her brain. Did she really want to abandon everything for an elusive glimpse of something that might not even be? That hesitation drew a frown on the figure's glowing face. It waned slightly, the light dimming like a flickering candle yearning to stay alight. "You're not afraid of the dark, are you?" it called, mockingly. A chill wasted no time settling deep in her bones. Could it sense her fear? No. She wouldn't let it get to her. "I'm not afraid," she shouted back, the defiance ringing in the empty air, and with that affirmation, she felt her fear push her forward, almost against her will. In a flash, the night transformed. The shimmer took on shapes, revealing more than just a specter. Suddenly she stood in a landscape of glimmering lights, ethereal beings, and a sky that bled colors she had never known. Familiar ghosts danced around her, showing pieces of her past laughter from backyard bonfires, tears of heartbreak, the sweet embrace of love. But it was too bright, too overwhelming, leaving her breathless, like she might dissolve into the brilliance. "Do you see the truth?" the figure asked, now spinning gracefully in the air. Rebecca squinted, trying to focus on its face. The light played tricks, distorting her reflection. "You want knowledge, but knowledge comes at a price." "What do you mean?" she gasped, confusion battling the mesmerizing allure of the scene. The ghost smiled, revealing eyes that felt ancient and wise. They were full of stories untold. "To learn what lies beyond the veil you must surrender what makes you whole, your memories, your bonds." Rebecca's heart plummeted. "The price?" Her breath quickened with panic. "No. You can't take that. Those make me who I am." The brightness flickered, and in that moment, everything began to shift, twisting like a carousel of thoughts. The air thickened again, closing in around her. The lights faded, shadows tightening their grip. Was it too late to turn back? Did she really want to know the truth if it meant losing herself forever? As the world around her began to pulse with uncertainty, she felt the weight of desperation clawing at her chest. In that instant, before the last hint of shimmering light disappeared behind the shadows, Rebecca screamed. "Wait! I need to know." But would she get an answer before the darkness fully consumed her, or had she already gone too far? Rebecca's pulse raced, pounding relentlessly against her ribs as shadows crept around her legs, tightening like a vice. The brilliance that had dazzled her moments before now morphed into a swirling darkness, consuming the vivid bursts of light that had painted the sky. Panic set in, as if each heartbeat was warning her of an impending fate she could not escape. "Wait!" she shouted into the void. "I need to know, but not if it costs me everything." Her voice cracked as uncertainty clawed at her throat. She was teetering on the edge of a precipice, and the abyss below whispered her name with cold insistence. The luminescent figure hesitated, the shadows momentarily receding in one sweeping gesture. Its face shimmered, revealing the contours of familiarity, a reflection of the very person she so desperately sought to understand. "Then you must prove your worth," it whispered, a sinister lilt to the words. "Face the trial of your own heart." A chill raced down Rebecca's spine. The ground beneath her feet rippled, transforming into a mirror of her once cherished memories. Images flared to life, twisted versions of her past creeping forth like ghosts unfurling from the depths of despair. There she was, laughing with friends around a flickering campfire. Then it shifted. The laughter faded into the haunting echoes of their arguments, the betrayal, the heartbreak. A flash of her mother's face appeared, looking at her with pride, then shifted to disappointment, the love turning into something unrecognizable. "Why do you show me this?" she demanded, stepping back as each emotion poured over her like icy waters. "These moments, they're mine. I can't give them away." "But they are not just moments," the figure replied, spinning slowly as the panorama of her life wound tighter around her. "They are anchors. Without them, you float, lost." Rebecca's heart raced, feeling the ground teeter beneath her. Gripped by fear, she waded deeper into her memories, the shadows closing in tighter. "What if I choose to keep them?" She spoke fiercely, wanting to reclaim her past, to fight against the spiraling darkness. The figure's form trembled, its brightness flickering as the memories began to distort. Friends turned into specters, love into mirages that faded with every word she spoke. You think they all hold you up? It taunted. But they are the chains that bind you. No. She screamed, collapsing to her knees. The images loomed larger, maddening, now morphing into a suffocating weight. I won't let you take them from me. With that, a blinding flash erupted from her heart, a surge of energy that surged like a tide crashing against the shore. She hurled herself forward, desperate to break free of the weight that sought to drag her under. As the darkness retreated slightly, the figure momentarily lost its hold on her. Every choice ripples through eternity, it warned, its voice echoing with an eerie blend of desperation and menace. You can choose to remain in this existence, but know, each memory comes with a cost. What cost? Its glow pulsed sharply, intensifying with an ethereal power. The truth cannot be known without sacrifice. What are you willing to give? Rebecca's heart pounded, terrified of the stakes. Could she face losing her memories while seeking the knowledge she craved? As she grasped for answers, the walls of her consciousness began to tremble, revealing glimpses of an expansive void beyond. Before she could decide, an overwhelming wave crashed into her. Everything spun wildly, and in an instant, she felt herself slipping through time, a dark ocean dragging her into its depths. Rebecca! The figure called back, its tone both urgent and pleading. Do you dare to step aside and witness what lies beyond the veil? And then, she was falling. Would she lose everything she loved, or would she find an awakening? What awaited her at the bottom, when flesh and spirit diverged in the darkness? Rebecca plummeted into the darkness, the weight of silence pressing against her ears like a heavy shroud. She felt the cool rush of air against her skin, but panic tightened its grip. The shadows danced around her, swirling with a frenetic energy that made her stomach churn. Let me go. She cried as her world fragmented into shards of emotion. 1,000 voices echoed in her head, screams that seemed to claw their way from her very core. Was this what it meant to let go? To surrender everything she knew to the void? Then, like a sudden lurching breath, the abyss softened. Rebecca landed on invisible ground, warmth flooding through her as colors exploded all around. She blinked, and for a moment, a firefly glowed before her, illuminating the swirling chaos. This vibrant flicker beckoned her to follow, its glow promising understanding and perhaps the answers she longed for. Moving forward took determination. The shadows stirred uneasily around her as she pursued the light, each step a mixture of fear and absurd hope. Yet, the shifting darkness felt alive, whispering threats of betrayal, testing her resolve. Why are you afraid? A voice slid from the shadows, smooth and taunting, caressing her thoughts like silk and poison. It set her skin prickling in response. You could have everything without the weight of those memories holding you down. Rebecca halted, the firefly's glow swaying just out of reach. Unsteady, she turned toward the voice, the shadows wrapping around her like a cocoon. What do you mean? Everything. Yes. Everything, the voice purred. Freedom lies in forgetting the pain. Your past is a cage. Why remain bound when you can soar? The invitation tempted her deeply. The image of her mother's disappointed gaze, her friends reduced to whispers of love lost, twisted into a haze of longing. What if she could erase it all? The bitter echoes that clenched her heart could vanish. But then what of her? Would she become a mere shadow of herself, devoid of struggle, devoid of truth? The firefly flickered impatiently, its glow intensifying. Behind it, the shadows writhed as if sensing her hesitation, impatient, sinister. Rebecca shook her head firmly. No. My pain is my story. I refuse to forget. As the words left her lips, the firefly blazed brighter, scattering the shadows momentarily. Rebecca felt an electric charge tingle at her fingertips, a flicker of defiance coursing through her veins. But it was not just defiance, it was a battle awakened. Foolish girl. The voice hissed, growing louder, the darkness shifting violently around her. Do you think you're stronger than your past? Prepare to face the storm. The firefly illuminated a path through the chaos, and Rebecca sprinted toward it, adrenaline surging. The shadows lashed out, snatching at her clothes and tugging at her skin. She could feel them clawing at her, threatening to drag her back into despair. Not today. She shouted, fueling her words with sheer will. With each stride forward, her resolve bloomed. The memories she had once feared transformed into a shield, emboldening her heart. As she surged ahead, light and dark collided, exploding in a burst of brilliance. But the voice, relentless as ever, echoed through the chaos, "You'll learn, Rebecca, the storm is just the beginning." As the light enveloped Rebecca, the world around her splintered like glass, shards of reality scattering in all directions. Would she emerge whole, or would the storm tear her apart? The question hung like an ominous cloud, trailing her as she dove deeper into the light, seeking the truth that awaited beyond. The moment felt charged, electrifying. Inside the light, she sensed a sharp clarity. Was this salvation, or was it an illusion masking a deeper truth? As the fragments of her world began to merge into one, Rebecca braced herself for what lay ahead. What awaited her at the core of that blinding brilliance? Could she confront not just the memories she feared, but the very essence of who she was meant to be? The storm raged, but so did the fire inside her, and she would not let it be extinguished that easily. And then, as everything began to converge, a voice sliced through the chaos once more, trembling with urgency. "Rebecca. Time is running out. The moment has come. What will you choose?" The blinding light pulsed around Rebecca as the voice echoed in her mind, an urgent reminder of the moment she now faced. Every heartbeat thundered in her ears, a drumroll for the decision that loomed ahead. What would she choose? Her past or the embrace of an uncertain future? Rebecca. The urgency in the voice intensified. You have to decide. Embrace or reject. Rebecca's heart raced. Glimmers of fear flickered alongside the radiant warmth, creating swirling patterns in her chest. What lay before her felt monumental. Was she about to step into something that would redefine her? Embrace the light, murmured the shadows, now quieter but more insistent, and all the pain will fade away. But could she really bury the echoes of her life? Would she erase the moments that had shaped her? No. She steeled her spine against the confusion swirling inside her. I want to remember. Rebecca called out, her voice steady, defiant. I won't lose myself to the dark. As if fueled by her words, the light flared, a dazzling sun bursting forth to consume the shadows. They writhed, shrieked, and retreated, but Rebecca felt them clawing at her once more, desperate to pull her back into the depths. Foolish child. The voice seethed, more venomous than before. Do you think staying in the light makes you invulnerable? You'll only prolong your suffering. The storm is far from over. But there was something new building within her, like a wildfire ignited from embers of despair, a sense of empowerment. The truth was finally unfolding. This struggle was not merely a battle against shadows but against her own insecurities. Memories flashed like lightning in her mind, laughter with friends, quiet moments with her mother, and the bittersweet ache of love lost. These pieces sang to her, urging her not to shy away from her identity but to embrace it. Remember your strength. She whispered to herself, and it felt like a mantra. Reject the shadows. With renewed determination, Rebecca surged forward into the luminous torrent. The firefly's glow grew blindingly brilliant as she entered its radius, and for an instant, she felt weightless, as if she were breaking free from chains forged by doubt and pain. Patterns began to form within the light. Faces she thought lost and forgotten materialized around her. They flickered and danced, bringing warmth and connection she so deeply craved. Who are you? She whispered, breathless. We are you, echoed choruses of voices, each laden with emotion. We are your past. Your love, your joy, your pain, everything that has ever shaped you. Suddenly, everything came rushing back like a dam breaking, memories flooding her mind, flooding her soul. Each moment took residence within her, clashing and merging with her current self. Fear transformed into nostalgia, pain into a bittersweet understanding. "Rebecca, you must claim your truth," one voice broke through the chorus. It was familiar, her mother. "Only then can you break free from the storm. Only then can you shine." But just as clarity washed over her, the storm raged again, dark clouds sweeping into her peripheral vision, threatening to drown her in despair once more. She could feel fingers of shadow creeping back, clawing for her. "No!" she cried, body trembling but heart unwavering. "You don't own me. I own my story." And just like that, she rallied herself. Clenching her fists, she harnessed the energy swirling within. The shadows shrieked, sensing the tide turning. Rebecca stepped forward, her heart racing, feeling the heat and brilliance of the light pulse alongside her. Would it be enough? Could she truly rise above the storm and reclaim her essence? A sudden burst of darkness surged at her, seeking to swallow her whole. "You cannot escape me," the voice sneered. But Rebecca pushed through. The moment hung in the air, suspended. Would Rebecca be strong enough to face the storm once and for all? Or would the shadows finally win? And at the precipice between light and dark, she breathed deeply, eyes wide with resolve. This is only the beginning. The shockwave of darkness collided with her, a physical force that threatened to drag her back into despair. But in that moment, Rebecca felt the full weight of her choices crystallize within her. Every fiber of her being ignited. "I refuse to give in," she screamed, her voice echoing through the chasms of light and shadow. With a fierce determination, she surged forward. The light responded as if recognizing her conviction, rippling around her like liquid gold. Each step she took seemed to shimmer, pushing the shadows back, inch by inch. But they weren't finished yet. Dark tendrils lashed out, striking at her sides, threatening to steal her resolve. "Foolish girl," the voice hissed, now seething with fury. "You think you can escape me? I am your past. I have molded you. You won't define me." Rebecca shouted, her body trembling under the weight of the shadow's assault. Sweat dripped down her brow, mixed with the salt of her tears. Pain pulsed through her emotional and physical, but she stood firm. She envisioned the faces she had seen, all those moments stitched into her heart. Love and loss had woven her together. Just as the shadows lunged again, she closed her eyes, drawing on the memories that had become her armor. Her mother's laughter resonated in her heart, wrapping around her like a cloak of warmth. The echoes encouraged her strength, filling her chest with a blazing light. "You must harness your pain, transform it." Her mother's voice felt like a gentle breeze, guiding her deeper into the brilliance. With a guttural cry, Rebecca unleashed everything she had. The light with her multiplied, swirling in a cyclone of hope and defiance. The shadows screeched, recoiling as their influence waned beneath her insistence. "You will not take me down," she shouted into the chaos, a battle cry forged from fire and emotion. But just when it seemed she might push through entirely, the shadows rattled one last time. Their anguished wails morphed into something sinister, seeping beneath her skin: fear, doubt, regret. They clawed for her, whispering cruel secrets that nipped at her resolve. "You're just running from the truth. You will always be alone." With each menacing word, a knot of sorrow twisted tighter in her gut. Her breath hitched, memories threatening to plunge her back into darkness, the loneliness that followed her when she least expected, the grief over lost opportunities. They wrapped around her heart like chains, but she recognized them. They were hers, yes, but they didn't define her. "I'll never be alone. I choose to stand in my light," she yelled, unyielding. And with that proclamation, the light connected around her, forming a radiant sphere that fiercely rebuffed the shadows, sending them sprawling back into oblivion. The light enveloped her fully now, swirling brilliantly, illuminating spaces of her heart she thought lost forever. She felt uplifted, suspended in a place where fear couldn't touch her. The chorus of voices came alive again, resonating with fury and strength. You are not just your scars, Rebecca. They thundered in unison. You are the fight, the hope, the willingness to rise. And then, amidst the vibrant echoes of her past, Rebecca finally glimpsed the crossroads ahead. Beyond the shadows lay a vast expanse, an unfamiliar landscape shimmering with possibilities, but out of the corner of her eye, she noticed a lingering shadow, one that seemed to grow stronger even as the others fell away. This figure was familiar and foreign, its contours shifting, its essence cold and calculative. Do you think you can escape your destiny? It hissed, seeping with venom, as if it had been waiting for this very moment. Heart racing once more, Rebecca stared into the encroaching darkness. An icy fear gripped her. What did it really want? And as that crushing weight of uncertainty bore down on her, she steadied her breath. I will not be afraid. Not now. The tension hung thick in the air, a storm brewing. What lay ahead would determine everything she had fought for, but the question remained, would she be strong enough to face the truth that awaited her? Rebecca's heart pounded, echoing like a drum in the vast silence surrounding her. The dark figure loomed closer, its malevolent energy crackling in the air around her. She could feel its icy breath, a stark contrast to the warmth of her light, and that contrast pressed against her skin, a reminder of everything she had confronted and endured. Face what you are. It whispered, its voice slithering through the air like smoke. You know you can't escape. Every choice leads you back to me. What do you want? Rebecca shouted, desperation creeping into her voice. She felt the weight of her past pressing down, each haunting memory shimmering just out of reach, making her question her strength. I am the truth you hide from. The shadow's voice shifted, a whisper mingling with the chilling laugh that sent shivers down Rebecca's spine. The shame, the regret, the truths you've buried deep. They are always a part of you and they will consume you. Rebecca shook her head violently. No. I'm not defined by my mistakes. But as she spoke, the atmosphere around her shifted. The shadow twisted in response, morphing into images from her past, the moments she wished she could erase, faded photographs that flickered in front of her eyes. Each image was a dagger, twisting in her gut as it resurfaced. Look. It hissed, drawing closer still. Feel the regret. The pain of missed chances. The visions grew sharper, a broken promise, a friendship shattered, a love lost in translation. Each moment clawed at her heart, and Rebecca stumbled back, her calm flickering like a candle in the wind. No. I can't, she faltered, fighting to regain her balance, grasping at the light that still pulsed within her. But the shadows surged forward, hungry for her surrender, filling her with an overwhelming sense of vulnerability. Your light grows dim, Rebecca. The deeper you sink, the harder it will be to remember who you truly are. The fear coiled tight in her chest, but she dug her heels into the ground. Drawing on every ounce of resolve, she shouted, You are not me. At that moment, a surge of warmth rushed through her memories, not of pain, but of love and laughter. She could see her mother's face again, radiant and proud, and she suddenly stood taller. Remember this, the voice grew furious, seizing the moment. You'll always return to your darkness. Rebecca lifted her chin defiantly. No. I choose to remember my strength. With each heartbeat, she focused on the light, a vibrant energy that radiated in fierce waves, pushing back against the shadows that threatened to overwhelm her. The dark figure recoiled, its form dissipating as she commanded her memories to rise like the tide, washing away the grime of doubt. But just when it seemed the tides turned in her favor, the shadow began to reform, its edges sharper, more defined. Is it strength, or just denial? It sneered, whispering doubts that crackled like static. You can't fight me forever. I will always be waiting. As the shadows swirled, forming an ominous shape within the luminous aura of her spirit, Rebecca felt poised on the edge of something monumental. Time seemed to stretch, every second a weight pressing down like the hand of fate. She realized the truth: this wasn't just a battle for herself, it was a reckoning. Perhaps, but maybe it's my past you should fear, she declared, feeling clarity seep into her bones. The echo of that statement wrapped around them, intertwining with her growing light. She breathed out, exhaling both fear and fury, a fire lighting up within her as she prepared to confront not only the darkness outside but also the one within. And if I'm right, what will you do then? As the question hung in the air, she braced herself. This moment would shape her future, the decisions made here standing like sentinels against the dark. But as the shadows writhed, she couldn't shake the feeling: was this truly the end, or just the beginning of an even deeper battle? The shadows danced like restless spirits, each flicker igniting Rebecca's determination. The darkness pressed against her, a suffocating blanket threatening to pull her under. She could feel her heartbeat in her throat, a constant reminder of her fragility against the storm brewing within. Your light is nothing but a flicker in the vastness, the figure taunted, its form morphing into monstrous shapes, an ever-shifting mirage of her deepest fears. The walls of the night seemed to pulse around her, vibrating with malevolence. What will you do when the flame goes out? Courage surged, mingled with desperation. I will reignite it, she shouted, her voice rising above the cacophony of doubt. You have no power over me. As she spoke, the memories of joy and laughter surged back, drenching her in warmth. She thought of her childhood dreams, of racing through fields under a blanket of stars. Those sparkles of light became her shield, pushing back against the encroaching darkness, but the shadow laughed, a sound like glass shattering. You think joy can hold me at bay? You think memories can shield you? It lunged forward, an eruption of darkness that threatened to consume her. The weight of despair attempted to engulf the brightness she had conjured. Enough! She screamed, and with that, she extended her hands, summoning every ounce of strength she had left. The air crackled, bursting with energy as the light enveloped her like armor. The shadows recoiled, screeching in a language she couldn't understand, but their fury was unmistakable, yet, deep within, doubt gnawed at her. Was it enough? Would this light save her, or simply delay the inevitable? Look into yourself, Rebecca, the shadow hissed, its voice now laced with anger. The deeper you dive into your memories, the more you unveil the horror lurking there. What awaits you is darker than you can fathom. In an instant, her childhood home materialized around her, scenes of happiness blended into heart-wrenching moments of loss. She saw her father's disappointment, her dreams evaporating under the weight of unmet expectations, old arguments echoing through the air until they sounded like a funeral dirge for her soul. No! She cried, squashing down those memories that tried to bind her. I want to let you take me there. With determination igniting her spirit, she focused on the light again, on the laughter, the adventures, the love. Each radiant memory lit an inner fire, forcing the shadows to recoil as they lost power. But for every step she took toward hope, the dark figure adjusted, morphing to meet her challenge, shifting forms, and growing in intensity. You think you can escape? It sneered, whispering sinister truths that dripped like poison. You're merely a child playing hero in a world meant to drown you in regret. This is where your story ends. And just like that, a crack in Rebecca's resolve began to widen. The shadow sensed her hesitation, its dark tendrils creeping closer, filling the space with a consuming stillness. The air thickened, every breath a struggle as she fought against her rising panic. For a brief moment, she felt herself slipping. Shame and regret are chains you forged yourself, it said, almost soothingly, like a twisted guardian. Embrace them. Let me show you how to wield your pain. Never. Swallowing hard, she driven to the precipice of despair but also on the edge of triumph. A fire flickered to life, fueled by her defiance. Stand back. She bellowed, her arms raised wide, summoning the light from the depths of her soul. You want to control me. In that moment of electric ignition, there was a rush of warmth, a wave of clarity. And just as the shadow lunged, poised to strike with force, Rebecca unleashed her radiant light, exploding against the darkness like a sun breaking through the blackest night, but in the midst of that blinding brilliance, a chill crept into her mind, an echo of the past asking, what if this doesn't end well? Before she could finish that thought, she felt herself being drawn backward, the flickering light fighting against gravitational pull. Her heart raced with terror. Was she being pulled into a different realm? Let go of your light, let it die. The shadow surged back, trying to reclaim its hold. With every breath, she defied it. But the edge of oblivion beckoned with relentless persistence. Was this truly the end of her battle, or merely the prelude to something unfathomably worse? What awaited her on the other side of that blinding light? She braced herself for the unknown as the darkness and light collided. Rebecca stumbled through the blinding light, her senses overwhelmed. It was as if she were inside a kaleidoscope where colors twisted and turned in chaotic formations. Every heartbeat slashed through the brilliance, a desperate thud against the silence that followed the eruption. Then, suddenly, the light faded, replaced by an eerie luminescence that greeted her with an unsettling stillness. She was no longer alone. Figures emerged from the shadows, faces familiar yet distorted, their expressions twisted in fear and longing. Memories surged like tidal waves, crashing over her, threatening to pull her under. Rebecca. A voice echoed around her, soft yet piercing. It was her mother, but not the version she remembered. This reflection was ghostly, translucent, as if it were a fleeting thought staggering through time. You're not supposed to be here. Confusion gripped Rebecca. What do you mean? She wanted to reach out, to touch her mother, to anchor herself in this moment. But a barrier pulsated between them, one she couldn't see but could feel pressing against her chest like a vice. Your light, it's your only chance, but you're losing it. Her mother's voice trembled with urgency. The shadows, they're stronger here, feeding off your fear. You must remember your purpose. Before Rebecca could respond, the figures shifted, merging with dark tendrils creeping around the edges of her vision. They clawed at her mind, whispering temptations of regret and despair. A cacophony of voices rose, each one a fragment of her past, reminding her of her failures, her losses, the moments she wished she could forget. Remember the night he walked out, a voice hissed, sharp like glass. You were never enough. No. She yelled, angst rising within her. I want to let you take control. But each recollection gripped her tighter, wrapping her in chains of sorrow. The laughter of childhood morphed into echoes of anguish. She saw her father, a flicker of disappointment in his eyes as he broke the news that shattered her teenage dreams. You're not special, Rebecca. Just another face in the crowd. The shadows tightened their hold, their laughter a chilling wind slicing through the haze. You'll never escape the truth. You're nothing without the darkness. Rebecca gasped, panic flooding her veins. No, I am more than my pain. Through the fear clawing at her heart, she summoned what strength she had left, remembering the warmth that flickered in her chest, the love, the unyielding hope. Stand tall. She commanded, her voice rising against the oppressive whisperings. With each declaration, light surged back into her, battling against the engulfing darkness. I am my own light. The figures quaked, shadows recoiling as her determination flared. The barrier between her and her mother shimmered, flickering as if it might collapse. But doubt gnawed at her. Was the light enough to hold back the flood of despair threatening to drown her? Fight harder. Her mother urged, the resonance of her voice slicing through the dimness. It's in you, Rebecca. Your spark can ignite a flame. Rebecca focused inward, igniting memories of triumph, choices made with courage. She thought of the friends who stood by her, the love she had shared. With each spark, she pushed the enveloping shadows back, forcing them into retreat, but then, from the corner of her eye, a darker figure emerged. It towered over the others, a mass of swirling shadow that pulsated with malice. Understand this, it boomed, its voice low and warped. Your light is fragile. Embrace the dark. It's the only truth that exists. Rebecca shivered, fear freezing her momentarily. The weight of despair threatened to drag her into the abyss, but she resisted, clinging desperately to her memories, her light. Make your choice. Another whisper echoed through the space. Will you surrender to the darkness, or will you step into your own light? You cannot remain here forever. Rebecca's heart raced as a choice loomed over her, an endless expanse stretching into uncertainty. Every second was a battle: would she remain in the shadows, or blaze anew, forging a path into the unknown? With a deep breath, she took a step forward, the barrier flickering again, her eyes set against the darkness. But just as hope ignited within her once more, the ground quaked beneath her feet, plunging her back into chaos. Rebecca. Choose now. The stark confrontation with her own darkness awaited her as she grasped the light and faced the looming shadows. What would be revealed, she wondered, at this ultimate crossroads? Rebecca felt the world tilt around her, like a ship caught in a storm. The weight of her past fought against the surge of her resolve, shadows swirling and snapping at her heels. But deep inside, a fire pulsed. A relentless light ignited within her as she faced the raging darkness, the bitter tendrils of doubt attempting to wrap around her heart. Enough! She shouted, her voice echoing over the chaos. I want to let you drown me. The shadows recoiled, their gain faltering as Rebecca stood firm, summoning every scrap of strength and clarity. The warmth of her memories wrapped around her like a protective blanket, pushing through the relentless cold. Then, the figure looming before her shifted again, twisting into her deepest regrets, her fears laid bare. You really think your past is behind you? It mocked, hissing into the still air. You cannot erase your failures, they are a part of you. Images of heartbreak clashed together in a chaotic kaleidoscope: disappointments, betrayals, whispering doubts that clawed at her resolve like hungry beasts, but she steeled herself, drawing from the well of memories that brought her joy. Her mother's laughter, her friends' unwavering support, all those moments anchored her. I am not my mistakes. She shouted, channeling her pain into a radiance that ripped through the dark. With a fierce breath, Rebecca charged forward, pushing against the darkness. The luminous energy pulsed, radiating brilliance that exploded outward, creating a bubble of warmth in an otherwise starless night. She felt the shadows retreat, vulnerable to the illumination that flowed from her heart. You think you're winning? The dark figure hissed, but for the first time, there was a tremor of uncertainty in its voice. You're merely postponing the inevitable. But Rebecca focused. I am not afraid. I choose to rise. Her heart surged, and the light expanded, forming a shield that guarded her against the encroaching shadows. And then, amid the glow, the figures of her past friends, family, even those lost, began to coalesce around her, their faces filled with love, encouragement, and strength. They surrounded her with their brightness, silence reinforcing their bond. You are never alone. They urged, uniting their voices in harmony that penetrated the lingering darkness. The shadows hissed, recoiling from the strength of her community. They melted like frost under the sun, trembling at the foundation of Rebecca's courage. We are your choices. Your experiences. You have the power to claim it. The chorus reaffirmed, each voice stitching her heart back together in unity. Strength blossomed within her. The bitter remarks of doubt, the cruel whispers attempting to bind her heart, began to lose their power. I want to live in regret. She declared, her voice ringing with unwavering strength, and in that pivotal moment, with every ounce of courage pulsating in her, Rebecca stepped forward, embracing the light like a long-lost friend. The shadows writhed in fury, but she pressed on, her heart blazing brighter than before. The walls that once confounded her split apart, revealing a pathway that glimmered with promise. Leave! She yelled defiantly. I will not be defined by your darkness. With that proclamation, her light flared, a colossus of heat and color, overpowering the shadows, the very embodiment of all her love, hope, and tenacity. The atmosphere crackled with energy, reverberating like a chorus of wild birds taking flight. The darkness recoiled, dissipating into nothingness, its hold on her utterly severed. Suddenly, the world shifted, the shadows retreating into the void, and Rebecca found herself standing alone in the soft light of dawn. The air was fresh and new. She blinked as she took in her surroundings, colors all around her blooming like flowers unfurling for the first time. Was that it? Is this what lies beyond? She wondered, heart racing, pulse quickening with newfound life. Before her, a path stretched out. The bright horizon beckoned, promising hope and the unknown. With one last look back, she could feel a sense of finality in her heart. The darkness had retreated, and she held the key to her own future. "I am ready," she whispered aloud, feeling the warmth wrap around her. A soft breeze rustled through the trees, carrying the fragrance of new beginnings. With a steady breath, Rebecca began to walk forward. She felt lighter, free from the chains of her past and filled with purpose. There was so much left to discover within herself, within the world. As she stepped boldly into the light, she could sense that this was truly just the beginning. So, what did you think of Rebecca's journey? Were you as captivated as I was? This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to catch all our exclusive stories coming up next. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button. It helps the algorithm, and we all want to share more journeys together. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. What do you think Rebecca's future holds? Finally, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this amazing conclusion. Don't wait even one more second. Your support makes all the difference.